Welcome to Universe Eternal Omniscient Mind Church, February 10th, 2025. Energy Vectored Tetrahedroning. Today I will explain why the idea of God and my synergetic mind was inspired to rename this sound word UEOM, Universe, Eternal, Omniscient Mind. As you might recall from episode February 8th, 2025, wherein I mentioned returning from a world game in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, when a thought occurred to me as I said to myself, I distinguish God from religion. Well, that was way before I read in Synergetics 440.01 that the nearest approach we, humans, will ever know to eternity and God is zero pulsation in the vector equilibrium. So my intuition made an essential correlation between one thing and another, but did not in that thought process exclude memory-stored experiences from early childhood and throughout subsequent years, including observing what obviously were the reenacting articulations. Relevant links will be listed at the end of this video. Unless synergetic minds, observing imagination, and potential application of the vector equilibrium has already been informed that its 12 vertexes initially are centers of 12 around one closest packed unit radius spheres, inquisitive intellect would wonder from where in the metaphysical physical universe this superficially perfect sphere derives. Questions are asked even now, as I barely comprehend this geometry that highly educated people and engineers might grasp. Is the 13th sphere, that is omni-surrounded by 12 spheres, removed to demonstrate vector equilibrium equals sphere at equilibrium zero, energized, unorbited, unspun state, which is discussed in February 8th essay. Does this awareness correlate with the closest approach humans will ever know to eternity and UEOM, closest packed spheres, as we can read in Synergetics 982.62, and also view in Synergetics color plate number 9? Especially now, since we are comparing two potential contextual parameters, UIVMOFCH, universe, isotropic, vector matrix, operational field, cosmic hierarchy, and the millenniums OPRJWMBCHM, politics, religion, justice, war, money, belief, complex, hierarchical matrix. Also, to explore the vector equilibrium's 25 great circles, let's see section 450.10 in Synergetics as directed. Eventually, this will concern energy following convex surfaces. Anyway, if it is not our 21st century generations, faithfully permitted popularized comprehension of this synergetics knowledge, who otherwise can be trusted to logically and omni-rationally apply it to elementary education as essential curriculum that does not omit it, while inadvertently and by default misguiding agendas perpetuate the detrimental PRJWMBCHM computerized networking. From every indication, Synergetics' explorations in the geometry of thinking with its conceptual models is compatible with the design of humans, our individual cerebral circuits, and consciousness evolution potential to differentiate and integrate cosmic to local systems information. As we can read in Synergetics 445.17, awareness of the isotopic vector matrix provides our anticipatory generalized design science applications respecting once unthought of efficiencies that were prohibited by the earlier centuries and that relied on the cube. But Buckminster Fuller's mathematical geometrical genius in the 20th century constructed models using the vector equilibrium's omni-60-degreeness and the isotopic vector matrix unit radius sphere nucleation. In Oxford University Press Dictionary and Thesaurus, the word nucleate defines forming a nucleus, form around a central area, and in biology, having a nucleus. In the Thesaurus, an example is given. Some cells had nucleated. So, apparently, the 13th sphere's nucleation, that is omni-surrounded by 12 same-sized spheres, is related to forming the nuclear sphere, described as nucleation. This makes it possible for our self-validating layman's mentality to imagine and to conceptualize this matrix is most economically mass interretracted, closest self-packing spheres, cognizing and recognizing the potentially discernible nucleation. If there are 12 around 1 unit radius spheres, all the spheres are the same size, which constitutes the first layer around the nucleus. The second layer is 42 spheres. The third layer is 92 spheres, when 8 new nuclei are potential. When we read and write the number 92, the 92 self-regenerative chemical elements come to mind. Synergetic mind is not forgetting one underlying intention correlating to Church UEOM, which is our individual, consciously coordinated contribution to TEUCP, the Evolving Universal Communication Process, and the periodic cyclical intention of forming a more perfect unity, having to replace the inadequate word union with unity. As we can read in Synergetics 222.01, the UIVMOFCH acronym is decidedly futuristic compared to the detrimental, illogical, irrational PRJWMBCHM expectations that, in points of facts, do not favorably compare with any realizable hope of reducing the tolerance magnitudes of the residual inaccuracies of observation and articulation, as the articulations are ever reenacted. The UIVMOFCH refers to Synergetics' hierarchy of rational quantation and topological interrelationships, including the constant relative abundance of eternally conserved energy. Moreover, it is reasonable to suppose that all the vectors at every layer of spheres are potentially energy vectored tetrahedroning. After all, when informed of these unit radius sphere layers, where 8 new nuclei are potential, this may well be, as every vector's mass times its velocity can equal 0. Or is such a phenomenon only pertinent to the first layer correlating to nucleation? Therefore, having a conceptual model of the minimum structural system's energy vectored tetrahedroning in mind is also to validate metaphysical physical universe as metaphysical and physical unity. It is a relief to any concerns about disparaging agendas to know, too, that the vector equilibrium is the synergetic model of equanimity that shares the same design in both the metaphysical and physical universe. So we can readily anticipate applications of this knowledge as the future unfolds, since we are technically responsible for it, to the nth degree of forming a more perfect unity at every turn of events. Initially, it seems amazing to realize that such configurations of nuclear geometry is nuclear physics, which we thought required mathematical skills beyond our earliest education, or perhaps beyond our comprehension. On second thought, or so it seems, the vectors, whether in the vector equilibrium, icosahedron, the octahedron, are energy vectored tetrahedroning. Awareness, thus, corresponds with knowledge of the tetrahedron as metaphysical physical universe's minimum structural systems topological characteristics that also describes the constant relative abundance of eternally conserved energy. Does this information have anything to do with concerns about annihilation? I ask, since one of the always and only coexisting complementarities that physics has found is annihilation and conservation. It seems relevant, since, and according to the thermodynamic law of energy, that is neither created nor is it ever lost, and is always 100% accountable. If only human intellection had in its consciousness evolution development the most accurate geometry, topology, the conceptuality of Fuller's Synergetics cosmic accounting system, wouldn't the world be a different reality to process? Synergetics, which is our research writing focus at Church UEOM, unlike attending a mass, sitting and kneeling, being preached to, inside a stained glass edifice or prone on a prayer mat in a domed gathering place that excludes omnirational thought and models that are conceptual independent of size, the 100% accountable energy technically correlates with network systems that the most economically operating governmental departments' communication could rely on, as the people are referentially informed of this self-regenerative conceptual model ability. Notice the word mental in the word governmental. Surely, systemic thought and the cerebral circuitry design of humans do not depend on mentalities that propagate whatever the earlier humans imagined to satisfy their lack of knowledge, their lack of information, their lack of all that corresponds with nature, which is nature's coordinate system. Synergetics, discovered in the 20th century by Buckminster Fuller in the United States of America, is nature's coordinate system. This comparative experience, having the UIVMOFCH and PRJWMBCHM acronyms as clarifying potential and manifest reality, seems also to be a type of unraveling and investigation and a potentially solvable inquiry as to when and why the computer experts at the outset of WWW, the World Wide Web Internet, chose to ignore Synergetics' energy vector tetrahedroning. Was it to conceal a competitive advantage by suppressing knowledge of relatively popularizable, fewer, complicated computerized applications by the human imagination's omnirational innovations? As it now stands, the internet has become an invaluable communication tool that nonetheless includes persistently distracting advertising, tracking every searched question, every purchased product, to the originating inquiry, a non-stop type of stalking targeting every click of the mouse. To such monetary and profit-motivated objectives, subjecting us to a type of abuse. Humans have become cell phone and app extensions, programmed thus without know-how and know-what, concerning energy vector tetrahedroning of a totally different economic initiative. This could explain the reasoning behind sloughing off Synergetics to indifferently focus on profiting, making billionaires as education strategies fail, while religions per se and attending church continue, increasing the tolerance magnitudes of the reenacting articulations with no one the wiser. Today's relevant links: Synergetics, Table of Contents. Synergetics 221.00, Principle of Unity. Synergetics 222.10, Equation of Cumulative Number of Spheres. Synergetics 440. Synergetics 445.17 through 445.18. Synergetics 982.62. Synergetics color plate number 9. Until next time, thank you. From Christina Universe Citizen, founder of Church UEOM, Universe, Eternal, Omniscient Mind.